All right, everybody. Back-to-back podcast days for y'all. Special occasion. Um, Hope y'all doing well on this lovely Sunday evening. Narcolepsy 194 here, 94. Here with some special guests. Today we're going to talk about a little touch on everything. We're going to discuss some stuff about Extreme Rules, obviously, and some things possibly moving forward, and also some other stuff about within the wrestling community as a whole, some toxic stuff and also some positive light that we can shed on the wrestling community. If you're a content creator or you're a fan, things that we can touch on, try to make the community better, because a lot of communities are toxic. Wrestling community is probably one of the top ones, though. I'll let my guests introduce themselves. You guys can plug in your socials if you want to, everybody can follow you.
Yeah, man. It's your boy Pat, aka Mr. Long Tan and Handsome. You can go ahead and follow me on TikTok at GTZP1891. Steady growth going on over there. I hit 300 today, which today marks exactly 2 months since I did the first podcast, which Malik was on, and it was that, shout out to Darian at the Wrestle Spot for letting me get on there. But so it's 2 months to the day. When I did that podcast, I started with 12 followers. So I've gone up 288 in 2 months, which, and I'll take any kind of growth I can get. So thank y'all for supporting and being there. And I'm looking forward to getting into this. Really am.
Yeah, so you guys, a lot of you guys probably know me. I've been on Malik shows before. My username for TikTok's right there. If you go to TikTok, all my other links for Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Cameo, all that stuff's in the bio. I want to shout out Bray Wyatt for the content. Every time Bray Wyatt sneezes, I get 400 new followers. So I just want to shout out Bray Wyatt and say,
I need to figure that one out.
Gotta start posting your reactions and stuff, man. Gotta start doing that. Reaction videos, man.
Yeah,
it's true.
Them reaction videos be hitting. So let's touch on that, man. First off, did anybody here think Bray Wyatt was coming back for sure tomorrow? Like, you think he was going to show up? I did.
For me, it was like I said it on the Roast Spot a couple days ago. Like, it was like 98% confirmed. The last QR code on SmackDown, like the last 2 seconds showed Huskus and it said "Let me in" and all that. So it was like. But I'm of the belief of until it's on my television screen, I don't believe it. But I mean, if it was anybody else, that town, Philly was going to riot.
Yeah, if it was anybody else besides Bray, it would have been. I knew he was coming back. The clues were just too.
On the nose.
Too coincidental for it not to be Bray. I didn't think he was going to come back tomorrow though, at Extreme Rules. I thought it would be like. He would find out who the characters are, like of the Wyatt Six or whatever, and then he would show up later down the road or some shit like that. But what about you? You think he was coming back yesterday?
The build up for it kind of reminded me of when Chris Jericho returned in 2011, and that springs to mind for me because I was there live for the night he returned, so that springs to mind. But the hints and the clues that were coming out for that. It could have been anybody, right? Until the very last one. And the last clue said break the walls. And you were like, okay, well, now we know it's Jericho, right? Yeah. It was the same thing for this. Every hint that came up, your mind said, okay, Bray Wyatt's really the only character that has done something like this before, but there's no definite clue that it is Bray Wyatt. But the second that last clue came through, like Pat said, and it said, "Let me in," who else could it have been besides? So as soon as that last clue, again, just like when Jericho came back and the last clue said break the walls and you knew it was Jericho, it was kind of that same deal for me. So I didn't know until I knew, and I knew as soon as I saw the "Let Me In" promo that it was Bray Wyatt.
What I love
didn't
about
shed the excitement for me.
Oh, for sure.
No. Yeah. I mean, we still got excited like when he showed up. What I love about this though is that we don't really even know what's next. Like, I don't even know. Who his first feud is going to be against? Like, what character is he? Like, who is he with? I don't know. We don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I was, watching it back. I watched the entire pay-per-view back this morning. The burnt Fiend mask was on the commentary table, and there was the Fiend, someone in the Fiend gimmick, like in the stands, but he wasn't dressed as either. He had that other mask on. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if y'all seen that new movie, The Black Phone, where the guy wears kind of like the devil's type mask. It reminds me a lot of that. So I don't know if he's doing the Back to the Eater of Worlds, if he's gonna do like a hybrid of the two.
Well, I'm gonna say, what if he does like both? What if he's like both guys? Like, what if they show the Fiend for like special gimmicks for like certain matches, and like he's just.
I'd be totally fine with that. I'm cool with that.
What it looks like to me is that for the entirety of the Fiend gimmick, it was almost like Funhouse Bray didn't have control over whether or not the Fiend was going to appear or not. It was kind of like the Fiend did whatever he wanted to do. And now, to me, it almost looks like this is like going to be the ultimate version of Bray Wyatt, who has harnessed these powers, if you will, that he had with the Fiend. And now he's harnessed it. He's brought all of his friends to life. And now it's going to be a Bray that is in complete control over these mystic powers that he has been flirting with for a while. And God, let me just say, I love professional wrestling because it's the only hobby we can talk about something like this and be 100% serious when we say it. But yeah, this seems to me like it's going to be a Bray that has harnessed all of these powers that he's had for the last 6 years. And that's why I'm most excited to see where he goes next, because I think the Bray Wyatt character, I don't think we will ever see him as powerful in storyline as he is right now. So I'm excited to see where he goes.
With Triple H being in charge too, like, oh my gosh, man, I can't even wait to see what.
And they hired a horror writer, a guy who's worked on Marvel, to lead this thing. Like, come on. Like, they're going all in on it, and that's what I'm most excited about.
I think Bray could be like the Three Faces of Foley type thing when Mick Foley had like Dude Love and Cactus Jack and Mankind. Like, Bray Wyatt could maybe, if anybody could pull it off, it could be him. He could do the Fiend,
for sure. Yeah,
he could do another gimmick. So, Russell Spot wants to know, what was your guys' match of the night? Extreme Rules.
Oh, the first night, the Donnybrook match.
For you, it was the I Quit match for me.
It was the Donnybrook match for me.
Yeah,
anything Sheamus Gunther related, put it into an IV, stick it in my veins, and I'm good to go. That was the best thing all night.
Sick, man, pretty sick. But the I Quit match, man, the storytelling and everything, that match was just, especially towards the end. Like the end was,
I called that, by the way.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people.
Brag, I called that.
Yeah, for me, it was the Donnybrook match. I did like the I Quit match. I didn't have a problem with it. I just felt like it took just a tad bit too long to kick into that second gear for the storytelling to start ramping up and everything like that. First of all, Edge deserves all the flowers that he get. That man could sell you the moon with his emotions and the way he talks. That guy he's really good, man. He's really good. So I loved it. I love the best stuff, because I think that finally gives Rhea something to actually do instead of just kind of stand in the corner and distract people. Yeah. She deserves to get back in the ring. So, but yeah, man, the Donnybrook match, just from the beginning, man, I love Pete Dunne, because he always just they always talk about, these wrestlers and whoever they are, even as far back as like Finley, who they love to fight, and that's their gimmick. Like, Pete Dunne is the only person that I see, like, as soon as the bell rings, like, he just hops it. He just flies at people and starts swinging as wildly as he can. Yeah. Yes. So I love to watch Pete Dunne. I thought that the match was great. I felt like the Donnybrook stipulation, while good, except for like one or two spots, didn't really matter. Like, yes, they used the shillelaghs, but that could have been done with kendo sticks. Yes, they used the bar to cover Sheamus, but they could have done that with anything else. But I get it for.
I mean, it was basically the Irish version of the Miracle on 34th Street fight, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what it was.
Or when the APA did the barroom brawl, where they literally built a bar set like on the side of the stage. Like, yeah.
Donovan Miller here says, now that Bray's back, who would your dream storyline for him to be with? That's a good question right there.
Ooh,
listen, for me, I'll go first, because mine is going to be very quick. I am more with Bray. I am way more about what we keep him away from, as opposed to exactly where he goes. Number one, keep him away from the title.
Absolutely.
As far away from the title as he can possibly be. For now. Not right away. Don't put him in a storyline with another wrestler that needs to be carried by someone in a match, because Bray himself, as much as I love Bray creatively, promo-wise, show-wise, character-wise, Bray is someone that when he's in the ring, he needs a little bit of help, right? He's okay. He's not bad, but Bray needs a little bit of help. When Bray has a match that you would call great, it's because he's in there with Finn Balor, Daniel Bryan, etc., someone who can carry a wrestling match on their own. And then Bray sprinkles in what he's good at doing. So don't put him anywhere near the world title. Don't put him with someone who needs someone else to look good in the ring. And don't immediately put him back into a feud with someone that's familiar. It has to be fresh, and it has to be someone new, or else the crowd is going to get sick of it really quick. So I think Triple H is smart enough to do that. I have way more faith in Triple H than I do Vince. So I have high hopes, but I'm way more about what you don't do with him as opposed to what you do for him.
So I have two people. Then I'll give an answer. I have two people that I would like to see him be involved in the storyline with. One of them is Edge. I think him and Edge would do tremendous work telling stories together. And Edge, I know, would put him over like very well too. So that'd be a plus for him. Mm-hmm. And another one, if done right, and I'm saying if this is done right, I always want to see him and Brock Lesnar. I feel like they could do some really good shit together. If done, especially with the new version of Brock, with him being the cowboy Brock and everything now, he's not really the beast anymore, but maybe he could turn back into the beast to go up against the Fiend or something. Like, I feel like the storytelling aspect could be really good if done right and if it's built up properly and if, they make it work together. So those would be my two.
I wouldn't mind seeing Bray and Brock. I think it would kind of lose the appeal of the spookiness of Bray, because I think Brock would no sell it. I said if done right. I said if done right. Yeah, like I said, but if Brock wants to play ball, he'll play ball. I mean, we've seen that 1,000 times. If he likes somebody and he's willing to work with them, he'll make anything look believable.
I was going to say we saw in 2014 in the build up to the streak ending, we saw that Brock played off the supernatural stuff with the Undertaker really well. So I think if he's into
but it, then, he has respect for Taker though. So he's not gonna.
Yeah. So I don't really know like who, because I totally agree. I don't think he needs to be anywhere near a world title.
No. I
think he's good, being on his own. But as far as like
him versus Edge,
but to him versus Edge would be good. I think that would be great, especially because I'm more than sure Edge is. I say maybe got a year left, and then he's gonna ride off into the sunset. He said so himself. When he starts talking about his bones creaking and the struggles of getting out of bed and things like that, it's kind of a wrestler telling you he's starting to wind down, which is fine. Edge is great, and he's gotten everything he deserves. If he wants to go home and with his kids, go home. Like, cool, props to you, bro. But man, I can't. I kind of want to see him, like, not necessarily in a feud with one person. I kind of want to see him like run roughshod, just hold this hold of fear over Raw or SmackDown, wherever they put him.
Yeah, just when the Wyatt family originally debuted on Raw. That's all they did was just destroy people.
Yeah, like no.
I wouldn't mind seeing him and Cena again either. If Cena ever came back and did stuff like that, I enjoy their stuff together. I think there are some people. I think there are some people that he needs to feud with though, and get his due diligence. Like I wouldn't like him and Goldberg. I wouldn't mind if him and Goldberg fought again, so he could be Goldberg. Like that's.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I would be perfectly okay if Goldberg never stepped foot in WWE ever again.
No, I mean some people are, but like from a story aspect, like
he deserves to get that win back.
He could use that win back. Or even other people, that he could, like, obviously Randy Orton's injured right now, but whenever he comes back, if he comes back, that's a win that he could get back that he didn't get at WrestleMania, because a lot of people thought he was going to win at WrestleMania, and that didn't happen. There's just a couple of wins back that I think he could use back that hurt the Fiend character tremendously. Like the Orton and the Goldberg and Orton ones are the two for me that really hurt the Fiend character the most. I think he could use those wins back. But from a story aspect, though, I think Edge probably would be the best matchup from promo abilities to storytelling to selling. Edge, I think, would be the perfect match right now. Like, if they would do
Riddle would be interesting too. He didn't attack Riddle last night, but
I didn't think about
Riddle.
Riddle.
Would play off that really well too.
I didn't think about Riddle. That's a good one.
Him and Seth Rollins can have a redo too, because they're feud in 2019.
As long as they don't do a rerun of Hell in a Cell. Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah, they could do a little rerun right there. And there's other people. I think for me too, I'm looking at stuff like, I know some feuds I think for Bray wouldn't have the best match quality. Like him versus Brock, I wouldn't expect their match to be a show stealer. It's just more of what the storyline could be looking like. Like what this, like him, like Bray Wyatt and Karrion Kross, like with their characters, I think they would tell a tremendous story.
As soon as like y'all mentioned like to name a few, my mind went blank on like 80% of the roster. So now like you're naming people, I'm like, oh yeah, that would be good. Oh yeah, that would be good. So I think Kross would be a good one. They both hold this this high regard of themselves, and they both speak very philosophically and kind of cryptically. I think that would be a good mesh against each other. Also, like, while it wouldn't technically be a feud for Bray, a lot of people have been talking about with what happened to Liv last night, that she could be the Princess Abby character. If you kind of had Bray have control over Liv and go after Alexa for what she did to the Fiend, I think that would kind of be a good thing. Kind of have him.
That goes to this question right here. If Bray creates a faction, which person do you want to see in the faction the most? That's a good one right there.
Well, I think, like I said, I would love to see Liv. I would love to see Alexa as Princess Abby. I just don't think that they're going to. I think that, again, especially after last night and Liv blacking out her Twitter, like, that's where it's going. But again, till it's on my TV screen, I won't believe it. But actually, the person I want to see the most involved in Bray's thing is Corbin. I think Corbin's great. I think he needs something to do. Make him any one of those characters, and I think he'd do great.
Mine, I would say Dexter Lumis for me. I think he would be fucking tremendous in Bray Wyatt's group. He don't even talk, he doesn't speak. Mm-hmm. He could be like the muscle and just like the enforcer, like a Solo Sikoa type thing in the butt. Like, he just right now, like, Dexter Lumis's character is very mysterious and very dark, and like, he has a legit storyline right now with the Miz, and we still don't even know why he's going after the Miz. Like, we don't even know. He's just attacking the Miz for what? We don't even know what he's doing to him. We don't know why he's attacking the Miz. He's just coming after the Miz for some reason.
So let me interject, because I have something very interesting. So if we assume that the characteristics of the Funhouse characters are going to line up in some way with characteristics of the people who are going to be like playing them as the human version. And by the way, let me say this too. I don't want to see somebody out there with the buzzard head wrestling all the time. I don't want to see someone out there with the bunny head wrestling all the time. I want to see a situation where whoever these people are that may be involved in the faction are capable of calling upon those spirits or whatever it is when they want to, but when they wrestle, it's just kind of them, right? So all of that being said, I think about one in particular, Rambling Rabbit. And what did Rambling Rabbit do? He never shut up, right? All he did was talk, and all he did was get beaten down for it. And then I was watching Dexter Lumis beat down The Miz, and I was thinking about how The Miz is always talking himself into trouble. The Miz runs his mouth, and then someone comes to get him. He gets swatted down for it. And how The Miz sort of now finds himself on the outs, and The Miz finds himself with no one to watch his back. And he gets sick of it, and so maybe he sells his soul to Bray Wyatt, and then The Miz turns out to be Rambling Rabbit. And all of these others that we're saying are kind of not necessarily bad ideas, but sort of obvious because they have darker gimmicks, like Loomis and like Cross and like Liv Morgan. But I think The Miz coming out of left field, selling his soul to Bray Wyatt and becoming Rambling Rabbit to be a part of his faction would be excellent. And I think The Miz probably needs a change more than anyone else that we might mention.
And I really actually really like that. And that would actually make sense, because didn't The Miz and The Fiend like sort of do something back where like The Fiend like put a doll in The Miz's house, but like that never went anywhere?
They had a match, yeah.
They had a match.
It wasn't The Fiend versus The Miz.
No,
it was Bray versus
The
Miz.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe
so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't know though, man. I don't know if I can see Miz as like a dark character though. That's my thing.
Well, maybe it's the inverse of that. Let's say maybe it's the inverse of that. Maybe Loomis is the personification of Rambling Rabbit, and he's trying to silence The Miz because he knows that he used to talk all the time and he got silenced. So now he's trying to silence other people. You can kind of play with that idea how you want.
I think too. Like, what about like Tommaso Ciampa? We haven't seen him in a while. We don't even know where he's at. Miz mentioned him too. He's like, "Where's Ciampa been at?" Like, we don't even know where Ciampa's at.
Yeah, he even said, "Where's Ciampa?" Yeah,
yeah. Like, maybe he plays a factor.
I think Ciampa would be really good as Mercy the Buzzard. I don't know why. Something about the personalities of Mercy the Buzzard and Tommaso Ciampa line up for me.
I like the idea of. I know a lot of people have been throwing out the name Joe Gacy, but I really like the idea of him being in there too. I really like him from NXT, so he could fit very well.
I've heard talks of Bo's coming back.
Bo Dallas,
yeah, and he's with Liv Morgan, so I mean that would be an interesting concept.
Yeah, Bo Dallas could possibly be a good one right there.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan could, I mean, maybe not a bad one either. Like I know,
Yeah.
I know that somebody pointed out to me that WWE posted on their YouTube that like Liv Morgan's going dark or something like that, or like she's something like that. Like after her match.
Well, after her match, after last night, her and Rollins both blacked out their Twitter. No profile picture, no header. No, so I think that's what they mean. Like I said, I like Liv. I think she could play that character well. I just think if that's the route they're going to go, and this is, I mean, no disrespect to Liv, if you're going to make her a dark character, do not let her talk. Don't do it. It's different. Alexa was a way different character-wise. Alexa could carry that kind of evil intention character. Liv, I just don't think she has the mic skills to carry that. Let her, she can interject here and there. You're more than welcome to, kind of like Abby did. She kind of would just chime in during the Firefly Funhouse promos.
I think I would prefer Alexa Bliss to be back in there. I really like the.
I would too. And she tweeted about Bray coming back. She posted the thing about Bray coming back, and she just said, "Hello, old friend."
I really liked Alexa Bliss's Fiend character. I was really into it, and I feel like I was one of the very few people who was really into the Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton feud, and Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton was carrying that feud for a period of time on Raw when Bray Wyatt was off TV. So I really enjoyed her as that character. So and we'll see though. Like I said, it's just all speculative right now. We don't really know. We'll all find out eventually. But I'm excited.
We don't know if this matters either. But remember that in storyline, Alexa Bliss is the reason that Bray Wyatt isn't around anymore.
Yeah.
So in storyline, it would actually make more sense because Bray's thing as the Fiend was always to go after people who hurt him in the past when he was cult leader Bray. So if he continues that pattern and continues to go after people that hurt him in the past, then it would actually make more sense for Liv to step into the Abby the witch role and go after Alexa instead of the other way around.
Yeah. I mean,
well, and I'm just kind of, again, I'm just throwing out random people. We were all talking about Loomis could technically be a part of it. If Loomis is a part of it, maybe Indy could be Abby.
Indy Hartwell, yeah.
Because Indy hasn't been on TV for a while.
She has connections with Dexter, so I mean, that could be interesting. And there's so many connections, so many speculations.
Yeah. This is what makes Bray so much fun. I mean, he's just so fun to talk about, to try and figure out the puzzles and figure out the mysteries.
We don't even know. There's so many speculations, like so many speculations right now.
I feel like that meme of Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he has all the posters and he's like trying to figure everything out. And that's just what's great about Bray Wyatt. So I love Bray Wyatt. Makes you think.
Somebody said Alexa or Scarlet. That could be.
Scarlet ain't going nowhere if it ain't.
Well, I mean, if Karrion comes and
Karrion Kross is the White Rabbit, could be the White Rabbit though.
Fair.
I don't know if you know, but for people who don't watch the independent scenes, Karrion Kross, when he was Killer Kross, was known as the White Rabbit in Lucha Underground, and
I remember that. It was him and Paul London, and there was a little person wrestler. I can't remember his name. Yeah. But I remember. I was a huge Lucha Underground fan. I wish it didn't go away, but beggars can't be choosers. But man, I think it could be Cross. I just feel like with how much they put into building Cross back up, especially against somebody like Drew, to immediately stick him as a follower of somebody else just wouldn't really make sense. At least for me.
That was my thing too. I was like, I don't know if I see Cross as a follower. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a little weird for me to see him.
Yeah, I agree.
As a follower, he's like world championship type guy. You know what I mean? Like a leader type of a group. You know what I mean? So, but it's all speculative. I'm curious. Like I said, we don't even know what's going to happen next. But I'm so curious to see what happens next, bro. Like Bray Wyatt's creativity is so good, bro. It's just like he has everybody. You don't really know what he's really about either. That's what makes it so fun.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's what.
In my video that I just posted about Bray Wyatt this morning, my reaction video I spent 3 minutes talking about Extreme Rules last night and then another 3 minutes talking about just Bray this morning on TikTok. And Bray is on a list for me of 5 people in the wrestling industry, in my opinion, that just get it. He just gets it. He gets that wrestling is for the people. He gets how to keep them invested. He gets that they want to be guessing. They want to be trying to formulate these mysteries and these puzzles. He's just one of 5 people in the wrestling world that just gets it. And the rest is better for him to be back.
Can't say the 5 people without name. We got to name the 5 people. Can't say there's 5 people. We got to name.
5 people in the world that I would say just get it. Bray Wyatt is on the list. Seth Rollins is on the list. I would say that I would say that Kenny Omega is still on the list. I would say that Bayley is on the list. Bayley just gets it. She gets what it takes to get a reaction out of people. Yep. And then to me, in my opinion, just black horse pick, I would say the Street Profits just get it. They just get it. They don't try and be anything that they're not. They know what it takes to get the people involved. Montez knows how to get the people going. The partner who Montez, Angelo Dawkins, just he knows how to surprise people. So those are the 5 acts I would say right now that just get it. And as a wrestling fan, that's hard to define, but they just get it. And Bray's at the top of that list by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, Bray is very good at character work. You know what I mean? He's probably has some of the best character work I've seen in so long. You know what I mean? He's very but he doesn't come off as mysterious like he's a good person, a good guy. Like I wish he had like the Undertaker mystique like for years. For at least a period of time, we all really didn't know what the Undertaker really was. Like some people didn't think he was human. Like some people didn't really think he was. Like when I was growing up as a kid, I didn't think Undertaker was human. I'm like, I don't know what this guy is, but like,
one of my very first wrestling shows as a child, like the Undertaker like came out, and where the stadium where it was in the town that I live in, it's no longer there anymore. But like they would lower the temperature in the stadium, and it got real cold, and like he walked down to the ring. Smoke, lights, the whole shebang, and my dad like ran me up to this is back in the early 90s when they were still just railing in the front. Brought me right up. Undertaker got like this close to me. I cried. I was terrified of the Undertaker as a child. So yeah, but that's one of the things I love about Bray, especially in this day and age of wrestling. Everybody is so accustomed to reading dirt sheets and figuring out this and finding out this and being spoiled to this, and we kind of have a preconceived notion of this is going to happen, or this return is going to happen, or this person's going to be here. With Bray, it's always a guessing game. And that's fun for me as a wrestling fan. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm okay with not knowing what's going to happen. I'm okay with guessing and going along for the ride. Man, that's what I love about Bray.
WWE just got really good again, man. I mean, they're at the. I mean, they got Roman Reigns right now. They got Roman Reigns at the top of his game right now with the bloodline around him. You got Seth Rollins right there. You still got Cody Rhodes, who's going to come back eventually, who they got from AEW. You brought back Karrion Kross, who's another great character. You still got
Bayley and Damage Control are doing great stuff.
You got McIntyre. You got Bobby Lashley still there. Like you got
so much.
Bray Wyatt. Like they got a lot of good assets right now, man. And plus, they still possibly maybe could bring back Sasha Banks and Naomi too. So like that can happen too. It's like, man, like. Crazy stuff that's going on right now, man. But I'm curious and interested to see like what's gonna happen on Raw. Like I think we're all like excited to watch Raw again. Like I haven't felt that way.
I was about to say it's been a while since Raw has been must-see TV, but it definitely is.
Like I haven't felt like I needed to see Raw in so long. Like I felt like if I missed Raw, I wouldn't miss it much. But like Mondays, like I can't miss Raw Monday. Like so much going on, like DX, and then you got Roman Reigns going to be there, and then of course Bray Wyatt just came back, and then like Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins. So it's like
Lashley versus Rollins sells the show enough for me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then we've got DX showing up, and the Bloodline's going to be there, and I have to see what happens next with the Bray Wyatt 6. So I'm watching Raw. I didn't watch Raw live for a period of about 6 years, and just starting a few weeks ago, I started watching it live again, and it makes me really happy.
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Yeah. I kind of like it more.
No, I'm totally with you, man. Like there was a point in time up until recently, maybe about 4 months ago or so. Like I wouldn't watch Raw at all. I would catch like the Wrestle Talk review the following day, just kind of catch the highlights of it. Like I just didn't bother me if I didn't watch it. But then I started getting back into, of course, my sons are obsessed, so they would tell me everything, and I would start to watch here and there. But just the more and more things that happen, with Triple H coming back, all the returns, the Bloodline is the greatest storyline in wrestling right now. I will sit down and watch anything with Sami Zayn in the Bloodline any day of the week. It's just great. It's just great television. It's great television. And now with Bray back, DX is going to be great. I'm kind of sad Billy Gunn's not going to be there, but
Yeah.
he's over there. He's over there doing his daddy ass thing. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like Road Dogg and X-Pac like come out and like give a quick scissor to each other as kind of like a shout out. But
Yeah.
you never know.
They'll probably definitely give him a shout out though for sure. I'm interested to
Oh,
see what goes down and what happens, man. There's so much going on right now, so much aspect of like what could possibly happen, and so many speculations of like what's going to go on. It's like, and I haven't seen what makes Bray. Like, another thing that makes Bray Wyatt cool is like they're really keeping it tight. Like I haven't seen too many spoilers on social media about this could happen, this could happen. Like they're really keeping it locked in tight. You know what I mean? So that's another thing that I really like.
But I'm sure that's Bray telling Hunter that, and Hunter telling his people don't say shit.
Yeah,
like because that was one of the problems with Vince. I feel like Vince just didn't get Bray. Vince, but Bray knows what he's doing.
Vince also forgot where he was 75% of the time.
This is also very true. But I feel like when you let Bray just do his thing, let Bray be Bray, you get things like the Firefly Funhouse match and the creation of the Fiend character itself, which trails back to the WWE Ghost Stories thing from like 6 years prior. I don't know if y'all ever saw that, but it was really, really interesting how he called back to that. He's literally standing in the woods. He's telling a story about how he saw this creature, and he's in the Eater of Worlds gimmick, but he's talking about how he saw a creature in the woods with long blonde hair, glowing red eyes. Basically he's describing the Fiend, and then talking about how basically by the time he gets to the end of the story that him and the Fiend are kind of interconnected, and how that leads to him being the Fiend now. Like that was like 5-6 years prior. The way he was able to make a callback to that. If you let Bray just be Bray, he's gonna be fine. Don't get in his way. I'm sure if he has any kind of qualms or quarrels about what he can and can't do, he'll go and talk to the higher ups. He knows he doesn't run the company. Just let him do his thing, and I'm sure it'll be great. But that's
I haven't seen. I haven't seen that. I'm gonna check it out. I have not seen that.
Yeah, it's WWE Ghost Stories. They did a series of them. It's like 4 or 5. Like I think Alexa's in one. And there's other kind of shit. But Bray is really, really good. Plus, in that promo, he wears that super dope leather vest with the hood that has the horns on it, and I want that thing. Like, do y'all remember?
You guys said that. Both of y'all said that there's things you don't want to see Bray Wyatt. Who's somebody that you don't want to see Bray Wyatt feud with? At least as of right now. Maybe sometime in the future. But right now, who's somebody that you think he does not need to be around?
Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. That wound is still healing, I think, for everybody. Don't go anywhere near Seth Rollins. I don't want to see him go head-to-head with another act that is also supernatural. Like if Karrion Kross doesn't join the Wyatt Six, I don't want to see Wyatt versus Karrion, because then you end up with both of these supernatural acts just trying to one-up each other, and so neither one of them actually comes out of it looking good. So I don't want to see him up against anyone supernatural. I don't want to see him up against anyone that needs help to look good in the ring, like I said earlier. Like I don't need to see Bray versus Braun, because both of those guys, as good as they are in their own rights, they need someone else on the other side to really look good. So that's my short list.
I don't think he needs to be near Roman right now. I think just let the bloodline do their own thing. Let them, Bray doesn't need to be a problem there.
Mickey, my mark right here says, "Infamous, your Bray video was well explained. I 100% agree with you."
There you go.
Yeah, thanks, man. Like I said, that's why I wanted to take a full 3-minute video to do it, because there was just a lot that I had to say about Bray. It was the kind of subject that made me want to reopen my podcast that I haven't done in a while, because I could talk about Bray for hours. But yeah, I appreciate that.
I will gladly be on that if you want to talk about Bray, because I'm right along there with you, man. I freaking love Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is unironically like in my top 5 favorite wrestlers, period. Like, and I've been watching wrestling a long time.
Favorites of all time? Top 5 favorites of all time?
He's in my top 5. He's like number 5, but he's still in my top 5 of all time.
That's valid. Who's your top 5 all time? I know you said, I think Austin's number 1, right? You said Austin.
Yeah, Austin's number 1. Eddie's number 2. HBK's number 3. And I'd probably put, if I had to fill that 4th spot,
It's tough. Top fives are tough.
Yeah, it for me it's like a three-way tie. Like, and again, I know that's kind of like throwing it at or, but like, for the people that I watched growing up, it's either Angle, Edge, or strangely Shelton Benjamin. I've always been a huge Shelton Benjamin fan. I was a huge fan of him as World Greatest Tag Team when he had the United States title run. Even when he left and went to New Japan, he was Shelton X Benjamin. Like, I've always been a Shelton Benjamin fan. I think that dude's great. Met him in person a few times. Great guy. But I would probably put Angle in there just because Angle's just
Kurt Angle's
Kurt. Yeah, but he's Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle's
So,
a beast. Who's your
yeah.
top five, Miss? Well, you got Dolph in there somewhere.
Yeah, Dolph number one. Dolph always number one.
Wow.
After Dolph, in no particular order for the other four, HBK, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, and Asuka.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
My top five. So I'm just gonna do my top five real quick. Number one is John Cena. Will always be John Cena. Two is The Undertaker. Kurt Angle was in my top five for the longest, but as much as it pained me, I had to take him out because Roman Reigns is in my top five now. I can't leave him out.
And that's fair, man. That's valid.
Roman Reigns is number three for me. Number four would be The Rock, and number five would be Eddie Guerrero. Those would be my five.
Yeah, man. Like
Kurt Angle was in there for so long, but
yeah. And for me, man, it's for me, it's when we, and I've had conversations not only here but amongst other people about like your favorite wrestlers, your top five, everything like that. For me, it changes all the time because as I've grown as a wrestling fan, I like a wrestler so much more if like I've seen like backstage things like that or interviews or if they do off-brand like content. If they seem like a genuinely good person, I like that person so much more. So like for me, if you like just in that category list of people, Xavier Woods is freaking awesome. Just him as a person and him as and in the ring, he's not bad either. I know he's not exactly pushed to the moon, but he's still, like I said, that just makes me appreciate and like Xavier Woods that much more. Same thing with Adam Cole. Adam Cole's hilarious. I watch his Twitch all the time.
He's cool, man. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, he watches Twitch all the time. Again, he's great in the ring, everything like that. Like, it makes me appreciate and like those wrestlers so much more. Same thing with Roman. I think Roman's just a genuinely good dude, which is kind of crazy because he plays such a cocky ass on TV. Yeah. But then you see him off TV and it's like he's just a dad and a husband. And I can appreciate that any day of the week. So, yeah, man, there's all these different aspects to your favorite, who's my favorite here, who's my favorite there. But, like I said, the five that I named, man, just going off all time, the people that I watched growing up and who I still, love and appreciate for, those would be my top five.
That's not a bad five, man.
Yeah.
All right, so before we get into the other subjects, we're going to do a little game here called Pick Between the Two real quick, and then we're going to touch on
man, I forgot about this. Damn it.
Some other stuff that we do. So you're going to pick between two wrestlers. You have to pick who the better superstar is overall. Now, who you like more, now who's your personal favorite, who is better overall. Ranks higher on the all-time list for you, higher. So no personal bias. Got to really choose.
Trying to increase my block list, Malik. I see what you're doing.
We'll start from the bottom. Bryan Danielson or CM Punk? Or
Bryan Danielson.
Batista or Edge?
Edge.
Roman or Brock?
Roman.
That
was a little harder.
HBK or Brett?
HBK.
Taker or The Rock?
Taker.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna go Taker on this one too. That's cool.
Rey Mysterio or Eddie Guerrero?
Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie.
Seth Rollins or Kurt Angle?
Damn.
Seth. And I don't say that easily, but Seth overall, yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Seth too, man. As painful as it's me to say that, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Seth.
Randy Orton or the Macho Man?
Oh, you son of a!
I think their presentations and their deliveries are both tied. So the tiebreaker for me is in-ring ability. And I mean, just based on the eras that they wrestled in, you have to give that edge to Orton. So I'm going to say Orton.
Yeah, I got to give it to Orton too on that one.
RKO. Triple H or AJ Styles?
Oh, AJ.
Triple H.
Cena or Austin?
Who was that? Cena or who?
Cena or Austin?
Austin. Sorry, bro.
I'm gonna say Austin by the slimmest of hairs, and again, the tiebreaker here is in-ring ability, and I think Austin's was always a little bit higher. I think his ceiling was always higher.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I try to make him challenging. You know,
they get tougher as they go.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Oh, somebody says Seth Rollins in WWE, away from WWE. Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was a beast in TNA. I can't even lie. Kurt Angle in TNA might have been better than he was in WWE, honestly.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think so.
Yeah, that's a good argument to make.
Kurt Angle in TNA was a monster. All right. So we're gonna touch on some stuff real quick about within the wrestling community before we get off here. Some toxic and positive things that we can shed light on. Pat, I know you got written down some notes that you wanted to go over, so I'll let you.
Malik,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, bro.
This is super important. Malik, can you just highlight that last comment that was made? Because I just want people to see that.
He says if he does not like CM Punk. I agree.
That's another conversation for another thing. I just want to make it clear. It's not. CM Punk is one of the top 20 wrestlers of all time. For me, he's just not there. But that's neither here nor there. Pat's got something important to talk about. I just wanted to highlight that. I thought it was fun.
No, you're good, man. Because I answered the question just as fast. It's not that I don't like CM Punk. I just think people need to take off the nostalgia glasses. He was good in 2011 up to 2014. Now, I think people are still excited that CM Punk is back in wrestling more than anything else. But that's just me.
I'm up about my tongue on the rest of this conversation because we'll be here. Just wanted to point that out.
We'll save that for another podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. First of all, Malik, I appreciate you letting me on to kind of talk about this. You know, I said the same thing a couple of days ago when I reached out to everybody. I wasn't sure if I was going to get an answer or a response. Again, I think that kind of shows one of the positives to this community, to, you know, wrestling TikTok or just the wrestling community in general, that there are good people out there. You can build legitimate friendships, legitimate relationships with people, you know, if you are, you know, willing and open to just be open with other people and be good to other people. You know, I feel like we have entered a time in wrestling where it's so easy to speak on the first thought that comes to your mind, or the first thing that you want to say. You are so easy to tweet it out, to make a video about it, to do this, to do that. And I feel like people aren't using common sense thinking, and that is causing a lot of rift, and more so within the people who try and gatekeep pro wrestling. And, you know, y'all know me, y'all see my content. I have no problem calling out those clowns and trolls. I do it all the time. It's kind of what's built my following. But I feel like it's something more that needs to be touched on in more than a 3-minute video of me just calling somebody out for that. You know, we're all fans of wrestling. We all love wrestling. You know, I've been watching wrestling almost 30 years. Malik, I know you're around the same age group as me, so you're probably at least close in there.
You might be a little bit older than me.
Well, I'll be 31 this year.
Yeah, I'm 25. So.
Oh shit! All right, make me feel older. Damn it. Okay.
I grew up. I'm a ruthless aggression era baby.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I'm an attitude era baby. So, but yeah, man. Like you know, the people who get it, and I'm just using TikTok as an example because I don't have other social media. I got off social media 2 years ago. Had to, you know, help with my mental health a little bit. So I'm mostly speaking on TikTok in general, but I know I've seen it and talked about in other apps. There is such a good community of people. You know, from the two here with me, and I could just literally just go through a list of people. I'm not going to because we'd be here all night, but it's so much easier to find good people. But when you find the people that gatekeep, that talk down, that discriminate, or do anything like that, it makes people not want to be fans and not want to speak their opinion and not want to enjoy wrestling. How are you going to take that away from somebody? That It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And I agree with what you said at the beginning, Malik. The wrestling community is one of the worst that has this problem. You know, I know that there are some like genres of music that are really bad at gatekeeping, you know, pop punk rock, that kind of thing, hip hop in general. But so a couple of things that I wanted to touch on. First of all, any kind of discriminatory behavior based on gender, sexual preference, or race. We're in 2022, y'all. What are we doing? Like, I grew up all around this country. I was a military brat. I've met people from all walks of life. And in those walks of life, I have met wrestling fans of all different shapes, sizes, colors, here and afar, from Florida to Hawaii. I've seen them all. How are you going to tell somebody that their opinion of wrestling is invalid just because they're different? How are you going to tell somebody that anything they say is invalid just because they're different? That is a topic for a different discussion, but it's not, I said it the other day, it's not hard to not be an asshole. If you have your own opinions of wrestling, that's fine. Have your own opinions of wrestling. We all have our own different opinions. Everybody agrees on things. Everybody disagrees on different things. But just because your opinion of wrestling is different from somebody else's opinion of wrestling doesn't mean that your opinion is right or it's better than anybody else's.
Right.
It's an opinion. It's an opinion. You know, a lot of people, you know, got on to me about, you know, my Hogan take, or, you know, get on to, you know, people about their Ronda take or the Liv Morgan take or the Cena take or the CM Punk thing. Like, we can go back and forth all day with everybody about different aspects of their opinions on wrestling. But the difference is the people in at least the good part of the community that I have found, we're able to take each other's opinion. And while we may not agree with their opinion, we can understand them and respect that opinion. Again,
the one unrealistic thing in the wrestling community, it's literally impossible to please every wrestling fan. It's not possible. Like, everybody likes different stuff. Everybody's into different stuff. There are certain people who like certain things that other people may like. Like, I made when I made somebody asked me to redo my top 10 list, favorites wrestlers of all time. I don't have Stone Cold in my top 10, but doesn't mean I don't like Stone Cold. He's just not in my top 10 favorites. Like, I don't like him as much as you may like him. Doesn't mean I don't dislike him. Like, everybody's top 10 lists is different. Everybody's favorites are different. That's what makes wrestling unique. You know, when I grew up, bro, my favorite wrestler of all time is John Cena. I grew up during the John Cena peak when it was a love-hate relationship with him. Like, you either really liked him or you really didn't like him. And obviously, when I was a kid, I didn't understand why people hated him because I was a kid. So, like, he was the good guy. But as I got older, I'm like, okay, I get it. I see it now. But it's like, everybody can like who they want and not like who they like. You know what I mean? It's just everybody has different preferences of different things. Not even just with wrestling, but movies or TV shows or music. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has different preferences of what they like and what they don't like. And that's okay. But like you said, just because somebody else doesn't like something that you don't like doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Like, if that person isn't really into that, then that's just not their thing. It's just not for that. This is not for that person. You know what I mean? Like, one of my favorite TV shows is Friends, but not everybody likes Friends. You know what I mean? So
I love Friends. I've seen it forward and back like 12 times.
I can rewatch it anytime, but the show isn't for everybody. You know what I mean? Not everybody likes
it. Overrated.
Oh, okay.
You're doing too much. You're doing too much.
Okay.
Not everybody likes everything that everybody likes.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, and you're at 100% right. You can sit there and you can list your top 10. Stone Cold is number 1 in mine, and he's not on yours, and that's fine. We can move forward about it and have that, you know, disagreement of opinion, but it doesn't affect us anyway. It's the people that hear that and decide that they're going to make a post about it and say that you're a terrible wrestling fan and you don't know shit about wrestling because Stone Cold's not in your top 10.
Right.
Like, that doesn't make you any less of a fan. If anything, that makes you just a different fan. You grew up in
I only said my top 10 favorites. I didn't say like the top 10 greatest ever.
Yeah.
Obviously, top 10 greatest ever in the top 5. But it's like, this is my personal favorite season. No.
Yeah. And you grew up in the Ruthless Aggression era. So, yeah, of course John Cena is going to be one of your favorites, if not your top favorite. That just makes perfect sense. I'll be honest with you. Somewhere at my parents' house, I have the belt buckle of that Spinner Championship. I'm going to have to find it.
I had it too. I had the belt buckle. I had the chain, had it all.
Yeah, I had the belt buckle. I had the champ is here shirt, the first one with the arrow pointing down. Like, yeah, I was a big John Cena fan back in the day. And that doesn't make me any less of a wrestling fan. You know, there are some people who like certain people and some people who don't. There are some people who, again, I don't necessarily agree with their wrestling opinions, but it's okay for them to have that opinion. It's when you start being toxic in your responses to those people's opinion or those people's preferences that it starts to draw a problem. Or when you are toxic and hateful towards a wrestler when they're doing their job to the best of their ability, whether it's not what you think is good enough or not.
I just don't. I look at wrestling a little bit differently, I guess, than everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really. People have like asked me a few times, you know, like who's a wrestler that you hate or think that's bad, but I don't really have answers for that. I don't really like if you're in a position to be in somewhere, you're doing something right. You don't have to be the best wrestler or do something like. You know, you could look back now and say Hulk Hogan may not have been a great wrestler, but he was in that spot because he was a good draw at that time. I mean, like he was doing something valuable for the company at that time frame. The same with a John Cena. You know what I'm saying? Like you could say John Cena wasn't the best wrestler of his era, but he was he could do stuff. You know what I mean? Like he's there for a reason. You know what I mean? Like he's not like it's one thing to be put in a position, but like you have to at least thrive in that position and exceed and do something right. And everybody.
Absolutely.
Positions to be every legend who's been put in a position has done something right. Even like you could say even about Goldberg. Goldberg was never a great wrestler, but he was in the right place at the right time for his gimmick. You know what I'm saying? It was right place, right time. And it was what was good at that time frame. So it just happened to work. So everybody has different stuff. But Infamous, I'll let you touch on some stuff real quick because I know you had your own experiences through the wrestling TikTok.
Yeah, I do. The first thing I will say is that unfortunately there's not going to be any sort of fix to the problem that we're discussing, because the problem of people being overly abusive and overly accusatory on the internet is as old as the internet itself. And you know, I can remember being in chat rooms or whatever, and I post a picture of myself. You know, I was 12 years old or whatever, and I was in a chat room with some other people my age, and you know, 9 out of every 10 people would be very supportive. And then you'd always have that 1/10 guy that would be like, oh, look at this fat ass. What's he think he's doing? Unfortunately, that's just going to be a part of the internet for as long as the internet is around. Now, the reason that I was excited to be on this podcast when Malik invited me on is because I feel like I have a different point of view to the toxic environment, because I take a different approach to it. A lot of the wrestling TikTok creators will do one of two things when there's negativity in their comments, from what I've seen. You have guys like Malik or guys like Nick Harrison that just completely ignore it and pay it no mind. They don't respond to it. It's just there. It's a part of their comments, whatever. And then you have guys like Axel or Dimitri that will go toe-to-toe with these guys. Comment for comment, video for comment, and really just drive that war home. And nothing is wrong with either one of those approaches. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Me, I'm just going to block you. I'm just going to block you. What is the point in allowing you the opportunity to view my content and what I think and what almost 50,000 people think is good content? Why on God's green earth would I sit here and look at your comment that says, you don't know anything about wrestling, you fucking idiot. Who the fuck watch wrestling with you, fat ass? I'm not gonna engage with you, because if I engage with you, what am I gonna get out of it? More of that. You have proven through your initial comment that you are not the kind of person that can be talked around. You are not the kind of person that can be helped. You are not the kind of person that can be saved. So, yeah, do I make a show out of it and make other people laugh by replying blocked to your comment? Every single time. But I do it because it makes me laugh. And I don't do that for show.
What's some advice you would give people who want to come into social media platforms? People have asked me many times, and we're all creators, so.
Yeah. So my advice would be, and my last point on this would be this. The reason that I do that is because the longer you allow those people to see your content, the more danger it's going to be for them to negatively impact your content later on. TikTok especially. Like I haven't blown up on any platform except for TikTok. And because of how broken TikTok's bullying algorithm is, because someone can just go randomly report your video for harassment and bullying and get that video taken down. And if that happens 3 times, boom, say goodbye to your channel. Ask Axel. When you keep those people around and give them the opportunity to continue to contribute that negativity to your community, it's not just hurting them or the people around them or the other people in your comments. It's going to come back and hurt you. So I remove these people from my life, from my community, from my presence, because I know if I don't, eventually they are going to become a problem. So that's the reason I block them, is because I don't want to have to deal with that problem down the road. Does it get exhausting blocking a person, 2 people, 3 people a day? Yes, it's so exhausting. And I guess that's Pat's point, is why do we put each other through this? What is the big deal? What is the problem? But the problem is, this is how the internet is, and the wrestling community is no different than any other community. Assholes are going to be assholes. There are always going to be people that can't be talked around, can't be bargained with, can't be reasoned with. And to me, my mental health and the future success of my channel depends on plucking out the viruses, identifying those viruses, and getting rid of them as soon as humanly possible. So that would be my advice to anyone looking to start up on TikTok, YouTube, whatever. Identify the viruses, isolate them, and destroy them as quickly as possible.
What about you? Same question for you.
I think mine was to a certain degree, you're going to have to develop thick skin to at least a certain extent. You're going to get backlash at some point, because just like Malik said, you're not going to be able to please everybody. And just make the content that you enjoy. Make the content that, again, if you enjoy it, if you do it, if you're enjoying your work, it's gonna get there. Again, I started out with just making. Again, I'm in the second group that Infamous mentioned. I'm the person that talks shit back, and that doesn't change anything about who I am as a person or anything like that. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I kind of like talking shit. It's fun to me. I grew up being bullied. I grew up being talked shit to. I grew up being kind of outcast and ostracized. So I developed thick skin, and I developed the ability to, while I can't fight back physically as a kid because I was small and undersized, I could hurt your feelings with my words. It was, and it's a whole lot easier to do that on the internet because I don't actually have to fight people. I can just talk shit to you on the internet. But I don't do it. I don't try and talk shit to people to, what's the right word? I don't talk shit first. There's what I'm trying to get at. I never talk shit first. I never just go at somebody and talk down on them or anything like that just because of their opinion or anything like that. I give personal reasons or personal answers for why I may disagree with you. But if you're just being an asshole, yeah, I'm going to retort to that. But I'll never tell anybody not to make content. I'll never tell anybody that the content that they're making is, unless it's something that's seriously harmful or seriously toxic or seriously wrong for them to be making. If you're just making what I feel is bad wrestling content, I'm not going to tell you to stop making it. I'm going to tell you I'm not going to watch it. But I'm never going to tell anybody not to do something. So I had a guy in my comment section today on a post that I had made. He was, I gave my kind of rundown of Extreme Rules. He was giving his in the comments, and I was like, hey, man, we disagree, but it's cool, man. But he made like 4 posts in a row because you only get so many characters. It's like, you should make a review, man. It's like, you should make a review, so you're not, just in my comment section doing it. I'm not going to tell anybody not to make content. If you want to make content, make content. And that's the biggest advice that I can give to anybody. If you want to do it, might as well take a swing at it. You may
making content can be challenging sometimes. I mean, first off, you really kind of have to treat it like a full-time job, even if you're not getting paid for it a lot. Like it's a lot goes into it. A lot of effort really goes into it, more than some people may know. But one thing that I do have to say, you do kind of have to have thick skin. And social media can be a very positive. There's a lot of good things with social media, but also a lot of bad things. And mental health is a very serious thing. You don't have to be. Mental health can come with a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be just physically. It could be mentally, like through social media or like cyberbullying. You know what I mean? Like it's if you know that like if you just know that other people's stuff will bother you about what they say about you or stuff like that, then I wouldn't recommend. Social media may not be for you, and that's okay. Social media is not for everybody. There are people who live life normally and have the little social medias with 30 followers, whatever, just like family who follows them and everything like that, and they're perfectly normal fine with that. And that's fine. You know what I mean? But if you want to get out there, you have to know that you're gonna have supporters and haters. It's people legit would make accounts just to say stuff in your comments or just to come at you. You know what I mean? Like people will just do that, and that's like they really do that for a living. Like there's a lot of people in the world, and some people just do that. But what I tell people is just try to focus more on like the people who support you, because as much as you may have haters, you could use that to fuel you. You always have people who support you no matter what, man. Like people who really enjoy content. There's people who not only just really enjoy your content, but they really support what you do. Like they'll support you on all your platforms. So they watch you, they really like you. You know what I mean? So like you focus on those are people that matter the most. Focus on those people who really support what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It comes in ways and shapes or forms. You know what I'm saying? Like it's unfortunate that social media can be like that, but that's just really what comes with social media. There's nothing really you can do about it. Like there's positive things, there's negative things. You just kind of really got to take it with a grain of salt and kind of mix it together and just kind of know how to manage both. Like you're gonna get hate. It's just what comes with it. Especially the more you grow and the bigger you get and the more successful you may become in life, the more hate is gonna come with that. So you just gotta really know how to kind of handle that. And it's not for everybody. It's not for we've seen famous people, famous celebrities who maybe committed suicide or just couldn't do it. I mean, some people just can't handle it, and not everybody can handle it. But you just really got to try to focus on the positive stuff, not more of the negative stuff. And the negative stuff sometimes can outshadow the positive stuffs. But you really gotta try, man. You really gotta try to focus on the positive more than the negative.
Yeah, and on the opposite side of that coin, man, if y'all are, at least from my perspective, if you are wanting to get into making wrestling content, I promise you there are way more good people on TikTok than there are bad. Because again, I started out with nobody. No, I didn't know anybody. No, I literally started out arguing with Dimitri, and just that's because he happened to come across my For You page, and then that brought me onto podcasts, which got me introduced to you, to Phil, to Tio, to Bird, and then I just kept making content. I didn't have any kind of outlook or any kind of plan. I just started making videos slowly over time. That's how I met people like Infamous, like Husky Rhodes, like Marissa, Shanna Hill, and again, all of these people who are good, genuine content creators, and they're good, genuine people. You're going to run into more of those than you are going to run into negative people. I have had genuinely positive conversations with so many people over these past 2 months that I've been doing this than I have in the longest time of actually meeting actual people in the actual world.
And I mean, going along with that is, I mean, don't be afraid to disagree. That's the thing I don't want to get lost. Like, you name a viral wrestling TikToker, and I've had a disagreement with them. Malik, Mitri, Axel, Smithception, McCruber, Josiah, every single one of them. But it's all about how you approach it. And every time any one of these guys has ever disagreed with me, they do so respectfully. So I do so in return. But again, the other thing is never undervalue the importance of your self-worth. I have blocked followers multiple times. I've had people get in my comments and they say something hateful, derogatory, racist, transphobic, homophobic. And I block them. And I get to their page and I hesitate for a second because there's that little follow back button there. And I'm like, it's hard because this person has contributed to the success of my channel. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to allow another comment like that to get into my comment section. This person is now proving they can't be reasoned with. So even though they follow me and it hurts to see that number go down, I'm going to block them. You just have to always keep in mind your self-worth. Always keep in mind that losing a follower is not worth or keeping a follower is not worth undermining your values or what you believe in. Don't let it change you and just get rid of that negativity. Even if it's going to cost you a view or cost you a follower, trust me, if you keep doing the right thing, you stay positive and you put out good content, you're going to make up for that follower tenfold down the road. So
remind me to have a disagreement with you so I can get some of them 50,000 sent my way. I'm just saying.
Is there any other thing you want to touch on? Anybody else want to touch on?
Hold on real quick. Oh, okay. Last thing. Let me make sure I had that right. Man, my handwriting is terrible. I can't even read my own handwriting. Oh yeah. So last thing, and it kind of an overall encompassing thing of what we've talked, kind of what we've gone on today. What's the right way to? I'm trying to figure the right way to format it or put it. Look, man. At the end of the day, we are in this space. We're wrestling fans. Even if you disagree with another wrestling fan, that doesn't make them any less of a fan. Don't undermine them. Don't talk down on them. Don't discriminate against them. You're allowed to disagree with them because we're all going to do it eventually. But that doesn't make them any less of a fan than you are. You are not the be-all, end-all of the greatest wrestling fan because your opinion differs. Enjoy wrestling for what it is. Criticize it if you want to. But just enjoy wrestling. And that's the biggest...
Be a douche about it.
I wasn't going to say it, but yes. I didn't want to say don't be an asshole, but yes. My thing is enjoy wrestling and let other people enjoy wrestling. It's so easy for, I'm guessing, again, infamous from the hat, you're in St. Louis.
I'm not in St. Louis, but I grew up a Cardinal fan, and still to this day I'm a Cardinal fan.
Okay. Again, Malik, I'm only going to speculate by the Louisville. Is that Louisville?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see, and I'm in Texas. And we're three people that on a random Sunday, we can get on here and have a good, enjoyable conversation for an hour at a time and just talk. And that is one of the positives of the wrestling community, that there are good, genuine people out here that you're able to, build bonds with, have friendships with.
Yeah.
People who have never even met each other that end up going to wrestling shows together. Marissa and Tommy met on TikTok and are now dating. Like, you can find good, genuine people on the internet when it comes to wrestling. It's okay. If you're a fan, be a fan. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. If you are being discriminated against or hated on or anything like that, come and find me. And I will personally tell you that I have your back, and I will point you in the direction of people who are going to tell you that they have your back as well. Because I don't put up with that shit.
Also, small piece of advice: if you don't watch wrestling, if you've grown out of it, whatever, that's fine. If you happen to be scrolling your For You page and you see a video that has a hashtag that says WWE, AEW, wrestling taught, you can keep scrolling, bud. You can block me. You can keep scrolling. I promise you stopping to tell me wrestling is fake is not going to prevent my next video from coming out. I don't know how else to say it. Learn to keep scrolling, folks.
If you don't like wrestling, that's fine. It's not for everybody.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying, though.
If
just
you're
scrolling. Like,
if you're a fan, though, like if you're hooked like us, then you're just hooked. Like, this is there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, this is something that you just can't get rid of. You know what I mean? We're like addicted to it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's part of who we are. My father raised me on wrestling. I grew up to now raise my sons on wrestling. Wrestling is part of who I am. I may not have ever been a professional wrestler, but professional wrestling and what it has brought to my life is a part of who I am. It makes me the person I am. And I'm fine with that. It's, again, same thing. If you don't like wrestling, wrestling is fake, wrestling is this, blah, 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 whatever. I don't care. I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to tune in. I know Bray Wyatt's not a spooky cult leader, but I still enjoy watching everything that he does. Keep moving. Because nothing you say is going to make me think, oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. Let me go ahead and turn this off. Like, no.
Holy shit, wrestling is fake.
Yeah.
Good God. Oh, my God. It took me this many years.
Yeah. Nothing you say to, I assure you people on the internet, nothing you say to Malik is going to make him take the belts off the wall. They're going to stay up there.
Yeah.
It's not going to change, man. We are who we are as people. And this is something that we like as the people that we are. It's okay, man. Keep it going. We're not going to, we're not going to.
He really isn't a demon. Who would have known?
A dead man? No, he is not. His name is Mark Calloway. He lives in Houston, Texas, and he is a very nice man. But yeah, man, like I said, I appreciate y'all letting me come on, and Malik, you didn't have to. By all means, I appreciate Infamous being here because he is also one of the people that I see doing his due diligence and letting talking, giving people what they feel that they need to hear when it comes to the toxicity of the wrestling community. I could list other people, but I'm not gonna. I don't want them to say that they don't want me talking about them in a positive or negative light. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. But yeah, man, like I said, I've only been doing this for so long, and I have had such a great experience, and I've enjoyed. It has literally made me enjoy wrestling more because I have such good experiences with people like y'all and the others that I have met. It's just when I come across those those few and far between people that it just like it again. And I'm from I'm from the South, and I'm from a generation of people that when I see things like that, literally the first thing that comes to my mind is, what the fuck are you doing? Like that's literally the first thought that enters my head. And again, anybody who knows me knows the content that I make. But I have to, I stop myself. There's a point in time where I'm about to make a video and I'm like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want, but I don't know, I guess you could call it like a moral compass kind of thing. I don't stand for discrimination of any kind, whether you're a wrestling fan or not. But if you're a woman, if you're LGBTQ+, if you're a different race or ethnicity, if you're younger than me or older than me, if you want to be a wrestling fan, cool, man. I love wrestling fans. There are not many of them in the city that I live in. I spend pay-per-views watching with my sons, which is great. But if you want to be a wrestling fan, you especially are able to see wrestling fans as wrestling fans no matter what, I'm cool with you. I have no issues, no qualms or quarrels.
To touch on the final note before we sign off, I mean, you'll find a lot of cool people in the wrestling community, man. Like you said, growing up, some people may not have had other fans who watch wrestling like they did. You know what I'm saying? People watched it by themselves. I watched it by myself. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. Like I had friends who watched it growing up, but they all fell out of it as we got older. You know? So I was the only one that stuck with it. So as I got older, I just watched everything by myself. You know what I mean? But you'll find so many cool wrestling people on the app, bro. I've met so many cool girls on the app, from Lana to Unicorn Goth, and I met Axel, my homie, and Mitri and Pat and Infamous Opinions. You meet so many cool people on the app, man, who just all love wrestling just like you do. Like it's cool to meet other people who love the same thing you love. You know what I mean? It's just like it's like an instant connection that you just instantly have with somebody because they like what you like, they understand it, and you always want to talk about it. Like if you were ever in school and you just happen to find somebody in school, you say you were in school and then you just go in the classroom, you see somebody with a wrestling shirt on, you just have to go up and say something like, oh man, like they got to be a fan like me. Like I gotta go say what's up to them, or at least just see what they're about. You know what I mean? Like, this is an instant connection that you can't resist. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
you can't resist it. So you'll find a lot of cool people in the community. There will be some toxic, people that'll watch your videos and everything like that. But at the end of it, man, if you're gonna make content, just enjoy it and just do it for the right reasons, man. Just do it for the right reasons.
Yeah, don't try and make a name talking down on people, man. I promise you, it doesn't. You're going to end up on the wrong side of this.
Anything you want to say, Infamous, real quick?
No, man. Like I said, always a treat to be on your show, Malik. I appreciate being on here, being able to talk, especially about this. Just to it's not nothing we've talked about is anything that nobody's probably heard before, but it doesn't hurt to keep getting that message out there. Spread the positivity, block the hate, or make fun of the hate if that's what you want to do. Just overall, if you want to be a part of the wrestling community online, I say go for it. But be ready to understand how you're going to approach that negativity, because it will happen. So
absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Last words you want to say, Pat, real quick?
Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you for having me on. Shout out to Infamous. Again, I know that he's in the same boat as I am. He kind of follows the same mindset, so I appreciate him for kind of backing me up and being able to be on here with me, man. And like I said, man, I want everybody to enjoy wrestling. I know we can't all have a kumbaya moment. It's not going to change much. I know this podcast is going to be a blip on the radar, a grain of sand in the, what's it called? In the timer. It's fine. But it's fine that's what it is. But it's still, again, I just feel like it was something that needed to be talked about, need to be addressed. And I'm glad that I was able to come on and talk about it. So shout out to you. Shout out to Infamous. Shout out to anybody watching. Good, bad, or indifferent, however you feel. You're still watching. So appreciate you.
Sign off with a salute. Thank you guys for coming through. Man, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button on YouTube and Twitch. Man, make sure you guys follow for more content coming soon on TikTok as well. Give these guys a follow on social media platforms as well. They also make great content. Go support their stuff, man. Thank you guys for coming through. Always good to talk about these kind of topics, to spread more positive light in the community. So thank y'all for coming through, taking time out of your day this day, and you guys be safe, man.